have been set within large houses and the upper classes, it was always the small moments, I think, that people took away. Those were the moments that people would repeat to you or to Gilly about why they loved the work. And all of those came from her own life, with Leo, her husband, who she adored, and her children, Felix and Emily, who she loved dearly. And I think for all that she wrote about upper classes, she really wasn't somebody who thought about hierarchy in a social situation. She was incredibly immediate in person. If she'd come into your studio today, she would have spoken to everybody, the camera operator, the person who made her tea, the person who did her makeup, and every single one of them would have got a card handwritten by Gilly afterwards just to say thank you. And all of that warmth, I think you could feel it on the page. She was somebody who wanted to make people happy.
And it sounds, Felicity, like she just had the best fun. She loved writing. She loved her life.
She did. She was immense fun. I mean, she was naughty. She loved jokes. She loved a pun. She loved to talk about people, but she wasn't a gossip in any way. She just loved and thrilled in the details of your life. And if you went to her house for dinner, you would usually leave a little worse for wear and just impart it the most personal details about your life, but quite happily. She was never the journalist. She could sort of just gently extract quite like pieces of information that you hadn't thought you were in a position to share. With such joy, and she would share in return. And she found everything funny. She was never, I never in my time with her knew her to be sad or to have any sense of self-pity. It was just like she just didn't have that in her. It was impossible for her to be sad. She didn't want to be, and so she chose not to be.
Oh, it's so interesting. I've got a slightly unfair question for you, what's your favourite of her books? Which one would you go back and reread now?
Rivals. I read Rivals because I think it has the love story of Rupert and Taggy in it. I feel there's a lot of Gilly in there. And because it's set so wholly in the Cotswolds, which was really her world, that was Gilly country. And it just feels like if I read that book, I can very easily also imagine myself back at Gilly's kitchen table, talking about myself in ways that I didn't expect while she pours me a glass of wine. And it will always be a comfort blanket for me. And it's so lovely. I mean, the television show has just brought that book to life, and she was so involved in that, and she edited all of the scripts, both for season 1 and season 2. So very honest, very hilarious feedback used to come down the wire from her. And so for me, that's the way she will always live on.
And all of the books have this thing in common, which is, you mentioned naughty. They are at times quite raunchy, aren't they?
So raunchy. I mean, I read them when I was way too young.
Understatement of the morning.
I know. I mean, she was surprised going back. We would put things in the television show, and she'd go, just that's so much. And we'd say, Gilly, that's from the book. And she'd go, is it? And then she'd go back and read it, and she'd go, my gosh, yes. But it was the sex never took itself seriously. The sex was never something that was performative. It was about laughter, it was about fun. It was very sex positive. It was about different types of bodies. It was about imperfect sex and silly sex and brilliant sex. It was all of it. And that's true of life. And I think so many people, had their coming of age by those novels. They were passed around at school. We all read them too early, and we all thrilled in that world, and we all wanted to be Gilly Cooper.
Felicity Blunt, the agent of Dame Gilly Cooper. Lovely chatting with you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us. I think Gilly would have entirely approved of our next item.
Yes, definitely.
As a wordsmith.
Yes, because if you're planning a cuddy wobble today...
Don't worry, it's not dirty.
On hold for the next few minutes. That's ridiculous, isn't it? What even is that word? There's also something gelastic coming up too.
Yeah, so snuggle up on your sofa because Susie Dent is here to explain.
Susie, what on earth are we talking about? Wonderful sounding words, and yes, you might think that pretty wonderful means something that that Gilly Cooper might want to but actually it means to set off on a jolly jaunt with no destination in mind, but just to enjoy the trip. And it's a gorgeous book. It's quite a recent one, but it's just part of a collection of words that just make me smile and remind me of connection